I am so thrilled to be talking to Brian Taylor. He is a really interesting author and has written all kinds of things from songs to poems to children's books. And he was a teacher, or he still is a teacher, actually. And what he's doing and how he's wrapped this all together is absolutely fascinating. So, Brian, thank you so much for coming on Author's Corner.
Thank you for joining. Thank you.
Yeah, so we are joined, together. So Peanut Butter's Problem. Let's talk about that. And this is a great children's book. How did you come up with the idea for it?
I wanted to pick a topic that kids could relate to and that kids are used to in childhood. And I thought of peanut butter. And I know that kids usually have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches when they're young, and peanut butter in schools. And so I decided to pick peanut butter. And I wanted to have a silly little concept as far as peanut butter looking for an object that he's supposed to be with, but he doesn't know who it's going to be. So, with the help of some other food characters that live with him in a refrigerator, they help him find that match. And so he has to go through some trouble to find out what that match is. But at the very end, he finds out it's jelly, and it works out for both of them. They both get some great things that happen to them at the very end. So that's where the concept came from, the school cafeteria.
I love it. And the illustrations are beautiful in this book, and you actually work with a pretty well-known illustrator.
Yes, I do. The illustrator I'm working with was an author who wrote Corduroy the Bear and Heidi. And I would draw the pictures, and he would illustrate the pictures. And so it was a collaborative effort.
Nice. And there's actually a follow-up to this that you've already written that has to do with something else we find in the refrigerator.
Yes, I've already written my second book, and it's on hot sauce. That's one of the characters in the refrigerator, and I plan to write more books with the lovable characters in the refrigerator in the future.
Love it. What inspired you to write these children's books? How did you go down that road? Because I mentioned, you wrote when you were a kid, you wrote poems, but how did you get
Yes.
into writing children's books?
First of all, I didn't think I could write a children's book. Poetry became natural for me. I admire children's authors, and I didn't think I had the ability to do that. But I just sat down with the idea of Peanut Butter's Problem, and the ideas came to me, and I thought I can use my poetry talent to write a children's book. So I just found the process very engaging, loved it, and I got a lot of great responses. So now I've been writing children's books primarily. So I've been setting aside uh, regular poetry for other topics. I've set that aside, and children's books are what I'm focusing on right now.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because you're a teacher and you're actually at Camp Pendleton and you teach like a hybrid of second and third graders, and you tested peanut butter out on them. And what was the verdict with the kids?
Yeah, I did that a couple of weeks ago, and they loved it. They loved the illustrations. They loved the writing. In fact, they were asking what's going to happen to some of the characters in the refrigerator in the future. Write another one. So that response from my own students was that felt good, and parents appreciated the books too.
I bet they did. And these are the books that you can give as gifts, and obviously you can also, I think adults can appreciate them too. And you can go to briantaylor.com, Brian Taylor Books. Make sure you put that in there,
Yes.
briantaylor.com, and you can find even more out about Brian. Let's talk about some of the other things that you've done though, because even now you're focusing on the children's stuff. You have other works out there. Tell us about some of those.
Yes. I have a book called Poems for the Military Veteran, the American Worker, and the American Spirit. Uh, I have many friends in the military. I've worked on base at a base school for the past 5 years. And I respect what our military does to protect our freedom. And I've actually given some of my poems to some of the military veteran parents at my school. And I admire their work. And I admire people that just work for a living to provide for their families. And so I took regular jobs, the military, and put them all in one book, studied what they do, and then just wrote poems to honor work in general and to honor the military.
Yeah, which is terrific. I mean, you look at the Bill of Rights, et cetera, and all of that. You and I had a conversation about it, and there's so much that you can wrap into it. And when those families and those people read that particular book, and again, anyone can read it, workers can read it, anybody that's listening to this, watching this can do it. What do you hope the takeaway is there?
That they love our country and that they respect the country that provides them the freedom to choose their destination in life. America is a superpower, and we're respected around the world. And because of the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, uh, all endowed by our Creator, we get to choose our path. That's what I'd like the takeaway to be.
Yeah, wonderful sentiment. And we talked about peanut butter, and I want to ask you that too as well. When the kids read it, or somebody reads it to them, or even the second book you have featuring hot sauce, and who knows what the characters will be in the future, what do you hope they take away from that, the children?
What I hope to take away from all my children's books is for kids to have that sense of wonder, imagination, and to be creative in their life. And this is the best time to do it in childhood. I'm all for technology, but one drawback I see with technology is kids can't, that sense of wonder is starting to leave. Uh, Everything is right there in front of them, and they don't create anything themselves, whether it's silly, whether it's funny. So a sense of wonder, a sense of curiosity, and taking just regular objects and make your own make your own imaginative efforts with those everyday objects around them.
Yeah. And I mean, you have such a great sense of wonder yourself. You can tell it, your energy and all of that in this conversation, and obviously being a teacher for your whole career. And you know what it's like to come really close to maybe not being able to come back from that place of no return, because when we went through COVID, you really had a tough time. And I think your personal journey is worth mentioning. Tell everybody watching this and listening what happened.
Yes, in the year 2020 to 2021, I took a year off. I didn't want to do online learning all day. I like working with kids in person. At the very beginning of the year, around September, October, I had gotten COVID. I got a very bad case of it. I had two pulmonary embolisms. I had a
Uh-huh.
blood clot. I had pneumonia. Um, I had digestive problems. It lasted for about 4 to 6 months, uh, daily dealing with this problem. And it was a difficult time in my life, but at the same time, something good happened. One of my books that's available, Poems to Develop Your Christian Walk, that book was written during that difficult time. All those poems were written during that time in my life. Uh, I tried to get into the hospital early when I mentioned I had COVID, and they were not going to accept me. And I had to demand to stay in the hospital. If I had waited a week, I wouldn't be here. So I'm, yeah. So blessings came out of it, and that can happen during tragedy.
Yeah, boy, that's for sure, no question about it. When as you're writing these children's books, and certainly we start with peanut butter, and that could go on and on and on when you think about a refrigerator and you think about the ways you can wrap in stories. That has to be really exciting for you.
Yes, it is exciting. Yes,
I mean, that's like just letting your creativeness just flow.
yes. That's that's one good thing as an author, especially a children's author. You can be a kid at heart in an adult body. So yes, uh, I have a lot of future plans for future books regarding children's books. So, yeah, that's a good way of
Nice.
putting it.
Nice. I love it. For you, when you started doing all of this and pulling this all together, did you ever think it would lead to where you are right now?
No, it was always a dream. Uh, I knew I always wanted to write a book. I had said that as a kid. I didn't know if I could really do it. I tend to second guess myself, but I just kind of went with it uh, at, after COVID and decided to make a dream come true and self publish my first book, which is Poems for Teachers by a Teacher. And so that was my first book. I took all my teaching experiences and put them in poetry form in 2 volumes. So that's when I decided to publish a book, was about 5 years ago
Wow.
during COVID.
Wow. So exciting. And when people go to your website, briantaylorbooks.com,
Yes.
what will they see there?
They'll see all 7 of my books. I've written 7 of them. Uh, they'll also see a couple of videos that promote my books. And it's still a website in progress, but those are primarily the things that you'd see.
Wonderful.
And I think there is one critique, a great critique of my Christian Walk book. So that'll be on there too.
Yeah, tell us about and you mentioned it briefly, but tell us about the Christian walk.
Yeah, I grew up in a Christian home, and that was very important to my family and ended up being important to me. I have a strong relationship with God, and with that strong relationship, I often write prayers in a journal myself, and I just write what I'm feeling. A lot of my prayers sometimes are not verbal, they're in writing. And I found that this would be a great prayer devotional book for people that aren't Christians, or if they're happy with God, if they're angry with God. It's a chance for them to develop their own relationship with God.
Yeah, well, wonderful. And again, you can find that out there too.
Yes.
Sure, go to that website. Brian Taylor, we can't wait to see what happens in the future. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.